Hey, hi, hello, and howdy. I'm Mushmallow, and you are, well, you're you. Hello, you. And as you can see, we are sitting down prepping for a WIP Chat. Yes, my friends, we're back-ish. I wanted to WIP Chat with you guys and let you kind of know what's been going on for anyone who hasn't really been following along on the Facebook group page or hasn't caught all the community tab posts and maybe has noticed, hey, there's been a decline, a decrease, a disappearance of new content on this channel, and not sure why, what's going on. Is she quitting? Is she, what's happening? I thought I'd kind of update you guys on some life stuff that's been going on. Some of this will be repetitive for those of you who have been on Facebook following along on the journey. And some of this will be new to everybody. I have some mom down updates. And I need to move this kit out of the way. Please stand by while I adjust on the fly. Here we go. There we go. That's better. So, yeah, I just want to touch base with you guys and let you know that I am working really, really hard to get back to some semblance of a regular, normal schedule. I'm already being spanked by the YouTube kind of algorithm gods a little bit. It's putting a hurt on me in terms of just the powers that be don't really like it when you're not regularly scheduled and constantly being a content machine. And unfortunately, I haven't been able to do such thing. So, yeah, but we'll get into it and everything. I just wanted to say hi. Hi, and I am in theory, hopefully I am back to work on content and such and stuff and things. So let's dive in and find out what's been going on that has been so impactful that a girl can't even make a freaking video. Oops. Well, there you go. Before we dive into all of the interpersonals, the nitty-gritties, the busybody stuff, let's talk about what I'm working on. I will put a picture up on the screen. I'm currently working on Kismet and Kitsch's Ephemeral Bloom, provided to us by Mystical Dream Diamonds. This is my very first square drill canvas from Mystical Dream Diamonds, and I completed during the shenanigery of my life lately. I have completed the first ever, for me, canvas from Mystical Dream Diamonds, which was a round drill behemoth of a canvas. Artist Gus Fink. Canvas title, I Will Always Fight for You. It is done, and I know some of you have been anxiously awaiting a post review, and that is the next thing I'll be doing when we're done here. I will be plugging away at filming a post review on that and some other canvases. I have some Forever Young minis I was able to complete, and something else. Oh, Diamond Design Company, long overdue Diamond Design Company post review. I finished them quite some time ago, but I want to tell you guys about them because they were, spoiler, super phenomenal. Really enjoyed them. So I just have been a little hesitant in posting the post review because the kit that I worked on from them is no longer available. Yeah, it was retired. And so I feel bad posting it like, hey, look at this really cool kit. Haha, you can't get it anymore. However, I realize that hey, look at this really cool kit. They have a million other really cool kits that might appeal to you unless your heart is as dark as mine. And then in which case there is slim pickings, but still it's a really quality company. So, we're getting ahead of ourselves. That's for a future video. Shush, mushy, shush. That'll be coming up next. So there's that on that. I did want to kit this one up with you guys because I said, sorry, I'm getting comfortable. If you hear noises and see shakes, that's why I'm shaking the table. Slow down, Micro Machine speaking woman. Okay, so I did want to kit this up with you guys, but life circumstances prevented me from doing so conveniently and timely. And I had to take the time where I could get it and just actually kind of peck at kitting this up over a couple days. And I just couldn't be bothered to film and remember where I left off, and you know, all the things that kind of go into making one cohesive video out of multiple days of pieces of video. Does that make sense? So I kitted this up on my own. I'm sorry. What I can tell you is there was static, but I did use this Ditzy spray from Ditzy's Diamond Den, and it's actually anti-static dust repelling cleaner designed to refresh your trays and keep your drills sliding smoothly in your trays. However, I did spritz I unscrewed the cap and I dipped a cotton swab in there. I swabbed the outside of the baggies, and I don't know why, I don't know how, I'm not a scientist, but it did seem to reduce the static dramatically in the bag, which was interesting. But then as just an extra hoorah, I opened the bag and also swabbed the interior of the bag and stirred it with the drills. And for the most part, I would say it took care of about 80% or so of the static. Even though that's not what it's meant for, that's what I did. And it worked out pretty darn good. So that's what I did to kit up, and then I did my normal kit up process. And if you are newer here or haven't seen it before, check out the playlist where I post kit ups, and it's pretty much the same this past year. So any video in this past 6 months to a year of kitting up something and talking to you guys, what I do there is what I did here. So I use Elizabeth Ward containers. I washi tape protect the containers so the stickers don't stick forever to them, or I don't have to spend time with Goo Gone and all that crud. And then can you get in there? There you go. And then yeah, I organize my containers by size, what size I'm going to need for each bag. And then I slap the stickers on and start pouring. There you be. I also tape the edges of my canvas. I don't always do that, but I try to when it's convenient and I feel like it and I have the energy for it. So I did tape the edges of this canvas to keep, as you can see, I'm wearing a sweatshirt, keep sweatshirt, you know, fuzz off the extra border, keep me from sticking too close to the edge, you know what I'm saying, if I set my arm down like this. And I don't know, make it look just a little bit nicer, you know, and hide the graph and stuff, because the table, I don't use it. And then I use some release papers to border. The release papers I'm using are Bee's Crafty Corner release papers. We've got the Mushy and Kristen DPP papers, the Dark and Creepy version 2 papers. I have some papers from Jenny Rose Designs on Etsy. These cute little killer ice cream situations. I'm using a custom diamond painting pen from a shop that's not open anymore, so I won't even bother you with that. And then an ephemera 3D green tray. See, I'm using a green tray and a green pen with green 4-leaf clovers in it because, you know, it's March. Even though St. Patrick's Day has long gone, I'm keeping the spirit with me for a little bit longer. So there you go. I think that's all. Yeah, that's pretty. I'm using some gifted cover minders to keep my paper out of the way. Oh, putty. I am testing out some new putties. I posted a picture in the Facebook group, but for those of you who maybe aren't on there or didn't see it, it's called, the shop is Etsy, on Etsy, and it's called Sparkles in Art. And they have these really cool putties I wanted to try. And if you're saying to yourself, well, how did you get this putty when you're not allowed to buy anything per the rules of your Slash the Stash challenge without permission from paid channel members? Ha ha, suck it. I did get permission from paid channel members. I pled my case and they approved part of my wish list. I had quite, I think, 5 things on my wish list and they approved these 2. So, and these were the more important of the 2 in my opinion, like kind of something I really need. I was using this Grayson's putty and been loving it, but they have since disappeared off of Etsy and they had made their own website, but now their website's gone too. So I don't know if they're permanently gone, taking a break or whatever, but this is the Grayson's and I have been using it, but I wanted to have something that other people could get if they're looking for putty too. And right now you can't get this, as far as I can tell. I can't find Grayson's anywhere anymore. So I went on Sparkles in Art on Etsy and I got this fluffy putty in the brownie batter scent and it's 15 grams. Now I know what you're gonna say. Oh, mushy, that looks like poopy dookie. It's brownie batter. This is what a glop of brownie batter would look like. So, oh my gosh, it smells so good. It comes in these plastic little container here. Smell. Can you smell? Try harder. You know what? I believe in the power of you smelling through the TV or your device. And this one is fluffy. It's really weird. It doesn't feel like normal putty. It feels more airy. It's not sticky, tacky, weird feeling in the hand. It's just a consistency that I don't know how to describe. It almost feels like cloud bread. And when you stretch it apart, it doesn't have too much taffing, but the little bit it does, it kind of just breaks apart like that. And it almost has like, I don't know how to describe it. Little, almost fabric-y. It reminds me of like when you rip open, a frayed cotton or something. Like it has like little, I don't know how to describe it, but you can also break pieces off like that. You can squish it. It's for hard pressers, if I remember correctly, and I am a hard presser. I'm currently testing this, but spoiler, oh my gosh, I am loving this. I also did stick it to my canvas earlier, and it didn't stick, but that was yesterday. Let's try today. We're going to break off a piece, and I'm just going to commit the card. Everybody hold your breath. Okay, so I can touch it to the canvas. It does stick a little bit. Yesterday it didn't, so that's interesting. If I have issues in this part of the canvas, future note, note that it was me. I did this. I can fix it if I need to. But, okay, so it does stick to the canvas a little bit. If you touch it to the canvas, you have been warned. I was going to say it doesn't, because yesterday it didn't, but you just saw with your own eyes today it did. But that's okay. What putty doesn't? It's hard to find a putty that doesn't really stick to the canvas. All right. Well, we can't do this all day. We can't do this all day. We know what's in there. We know what's under there. And if I need to reglue this part, I'm not going to hold it against Mystical Dream Diamonds. We all saw what I just did here, right? I mean, this isn't my fault. Okay. So there's that one. I mean, it's got some, it'll stick a little bit to the canvas, I guess. Yesterday it didn't. I thought I was going to show you something magical, such as life, right? And then this one is the AB, and it kind of already reformed to the container. I've had this out and I'm messed with its formation, its shape, and it kind of spread out and settled it back into shape, but it's like a gelatinous, I don't know, it feels like one of those sticky hands you used to get out of those gumball machines. You know what I mean? Where you think that you're going to pull away and your fingers are going to be sticky, but they're not. But this feels a little sticky. I feel like this is a lint catcher type of product, but it is kind of gelatinous, a little bit gooey. You can see some air bubbles in there. It's kind of clear. But this is for AB drills only. And I literally have only placed, I think, 1 or 2 AB drills since I got this. And I didn't think it was worth like loading up a whole pin for. So I haven't really got to try that yet. I did try it with regular drills and it worked just fine. In fact, it almost had like a little of a slip to it. Again, another texture, very interesting, that I can't describe fully because I'm sorry, I've never, there's nothing that I've experienced diamond painting wise to compare to either of these two consistencies. And then it did come with some glue dot samples they have in here. Not wanting to deal with glue dots today. Sorry, friends. And then this regular version of their putty, not the fluffy, but regular version. And I have this in my pen and the fluffy in my pen. And I have been enjoying all of it. So Sparkles in Art, all smashed together into as if it were one word on Etsy. So there's that on that, my friends. That's what I'm using in my pen. That was a lot of words. All right, are we ready? Do you want to hear what's been going on? Why have I not been making content? I've been trying, you guys. So I'm going to nutshell it because I'm sure most of anyone who regularly watches the channel knows, but just a little recap for anyone who kind of just pops in once in a while or is newer here. Here's what you missed. Sundown and I are not people of perfect health. Surprise! Surprise! And Sundown had I've lost count, 6th, 5th, 6th, somewhere in that neighborhood, back surgery. He had a spinal cord stimulator put in on February 4th. So we had to leave our home in Northeast Arkansas, travel 6 hours up to St. Louis Barnes Jewish Hospital for him to have a surgery to implant a spinal cord stimulator into his back, because he's kind of gone through the gambit. He's had multiple back surgeries and they have not resolved his pain and mobility issues. And so they were giving him epidurals and other back injections of steroid pain medication. And he has been doing that for so long that it has started basically, for lack of, I don't want to get in too deep into any one thing, but basically eating his bones away, like dissolving his bones. His bones are becoming frail from it. And they said, listen, we're not going to be able to continue this much longer. We need to try something else. What else is there? Well, there's only one other thing we can try before we have to just live in the pain. And it is a back spinal cord stimulator. He has had one before. He did try one early on before, almost a decade ago, and it became, hello, okay, there, it didn't want to go in there. It became septic and he almost lost his life. And so therefore, obviously, that was not something he wanted to potentially risk putting himself through again. And he was fine on the shots until they were saying, hey, listen, we're about the end of the road on the shots. So he decided advancements in technology, etc., safer, blah, blah, blah. Go ahead. Let's do a spinal cord. Try it again. So back at the beginning of February, he had a spinal cord stimulator put in. And he we went back 2 weeks later to his post-op appointment, and he was inspected by the surgeons, and that was on the 18th of February, and everything looked fine. I'm sorry, I'm diamond painting like a putz because I am further away from my canvas than I usually am. but I can't get you any closer to me. Maybe. One sec. Hold on. Let me see if I can fix this. Well, I'll have to try to remember to talk a little quieter because the microphone is a heck of a lot closer. But this feels better to me. Okay, now I can actually kind of see what I'm doing without stretching all the way across my table. Yay! Okay. Anyway, he went to his 2-week post-op follow-up appointment, and they took a look at the wounds that were stitched up and such, and took a look at all the things that they need to look at and said, hey, dude, you're doing great. 5 more weeks of recovery and you should be back to normal, good to go, and significantly pain reduced. Yay, right? Well, 2 days later, Sundown, we're back home, and Sundown spiked a fever, and his blood pressure plummeted. He was having trouble remaining conscious and coherent. Things were going awry. He was rushed off to the emergency room, local emergency room, in the middle of the night, with symptoms and signs of a severe infection. And it turns out that he had an allergic reaction to the adhesive on the surgical tape, which they dealt with at his post-op appointment. They went ahead and took it off, and which was, they were facing, take off the surgical wound tape that's protecting, like airlocking the area, keeping bacteria from getting to it, at the expense of an allergic reaction that could be life-threatening, or take it off and, what are you supposed to do, right? So they had taken it off at his post-op. 2 days later, he was in the hospital with symptoms of an infection. They ran some preliminary tests. They missed the infection. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I don't know how that happened, but it happened because he was just really kind of dragging hiney, not feeling good for about a month after that. And he was supposed to, he was on minimal movement and stuff. And the reason I'm telling you this is because while you're hearing some of this, factor in what family who lives with him might have been going through. Like, I don't know, me and Leah. Because he was on restricted from the beginning of February till present, and we'll get there. He's been on restricted movement. No bending, twisting, lifting, reaching, stretching. Pretty much just bed rest. He was prescribed by the doctor, which he didn't like, but he was prescribed 5 weeks of video games on the couch and sleeping, napping, and video games. That was pretty much what he was allowed to do. And for someone like him, it's not a happy thing. So anyway, we've already been through a month. 5 weeks hit, and he's feeling like crud. The incision's starting to hurt and itch, and it starts oozing. Sorry, that's about as graphic as I'll get. I'm sorry, guys, but it is what it is. It started doing what infections do when they're really bad. So on the outside, though, everything kind of looked okay, except for his wounds weren't healing. They were just remaining unhealed. But, all of a sudden anything that had already closed up and was healing over opened up. And fluids were coming out. And at this point, it's been 4 to 5 weeks, and he was supposed to have been fully healed and ready to just live life normally again. And he's like, okay, listen, my wounds are actually opening back up. They're oozing and bleeding and stuff, and I'm supposed to be fully healed. Something's not right. And we knew things weren't right the whole time, because he had been up to the emergency room, like I said, once on one occasion, and urgent care on 3 other occasions, complaining about like infection symptoms. This is the local, because we weren't going to try to drive up to, a 12-hour round trip to go to an emergency room, right? So, we knew something wasn't going as planned, but everybody kept saying, poo poo, poo poo, you're fine. It's just healing. You're just healing. Nah, 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 nah. And sending him home and not helping. And finally, it just got to the point where something's really, really wrong. So we went in again and they cultured the fluid and they took some images in the urgent care and gave him an antibiotic through an IV and sent him home to follow up with his surgeons the next day. Well, he called up at the beginning of, I don't even remember what day it was. I'm so tired. But it was St. Patrick's Day. March 17th, he called up to his surgeon and told them what was going on, sent them some pictures. They had them look in his little MyChart app sharing medical thing that they have, where doctors from different areas and facilities can talk to each other and see their notes and their labs and all that, right? And his surgeon was like, oh my gosh, this is not good. Can you make it up here today? And it was in the afternoon. And we were like, we live 6 hours away. And that's with traveling overnight with no traffic. Like, no, we can't make it here within your business hours, within a couple hours today. Sorry. And so they said, can you, how soon can you be here? And we were like, oh no. When a doctor asks you, can you get here like ASAP, you kind of have to, that's alarm bell material right there. Ding, 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 ding. Right? So we were like, this is serious. And he said, well, we can be there tomorrow. I can be there tomorrow when you open the doors. I will be waiting to come in. And they said, okay, do that. We'll make room for you. Let us know when you get here and we'll get you right in. And they did too. So we drove all night and we got a hotel because we got there a couple hours early and we were exhausted, right? And who likes sleeping in a car in a parking garage? Not me. So we got a hotel, took a little nappy pappy, and got up and went over to the hospital right at door opening. 7:30 a.m. Knock, knock. Here we are. They rushed him right into the doctor's office, the surgeon's office. And he was up there for about 2 hours when I got the call. So I get the call. I'm in the car because, it sounded kind of urgent when they were like, can you get up here? How soon can you get here? Can you be here when we open in the morning, first thing, etc.? So I knew it was going to be serious, but I thought maybe, I didn't expect it to be as serious as it turned out. So he calls me from in the office and he's like, I've had the surgeon, the surgeon who put this in, my normal doctor, she's on vacation. She's not here. So the person who's taking her cases, he came in and looked at it. A couple surgeons have come in and looked at me. They've put me in through they did an ultrasound. They've taken lab work. They've taken cultures and they've poked and prodded at me, evaluated me. The head neurosurgeon came in, took one look at everything and said, prep him for surgery. And I was like, wait, what? And he said, yeah, I have to have an emergency surgery. They're going to pull me into surgery pretty much right now. You have to take me over to the emergency room. I have to check in through there. They're going to come down and scoop me up from there and take me up to surgery. My device is infected, and they need to get it out of me ASAP. And I was like, are you, I guess I wasn't expecting that. You know what I mean? I don't know what I was expecting, but I wasn't expecting that to get a call saying, right now I am being, they are prepping for surgery on me. I thought, okay, they'll schedule tomorrow or a couple days, or if anything, it would be a schedule. But they were like, no, this was an emergency surgery. It has to come out ASAP, like now. And so of course there's panic and fear and stuff when you're told that someone you love and care about is emergency surgery is required, and you weren't kind of mentally prepared for that. And so he came out to the car and he's like, hurry, we got to get over to the emergency room side. And so we went over there and parked the car, and he went in, and that was at 9:30 that morning. I did not see him again until 7:30 that night. Well, I did see him. Let me take that. That's an exaggeration-ish. I briefly saw him when he was in the emergency room and waiting for an OR to open up for them to take him to. And I did get to walk, and I say walk, but what I mean is like frickin' race. They were pretty much jogging him through back channels of the hospital, back, scary hallways and stuff, up to the surgical floor and stuff. I did get to make that run with them, and shortly thereafter I was given the boot, and then I didn't get to see him again until 7:30 that night when he was released, so after surgery. But the surgery was, they said there's a little infection. They thought there was a little infection. The surgeon called me during the procedure a couple times, and I, the first time was like to let me know, okay, we've got him under, we're starting the procedure now, and they expected it only to be about an hour and a half long. They thought they were just going to go in, take the device out, and some minor cleaning of the area, and zip him up and call it a day. Well, I get a phone call a little while later that said, so, hi, I'm the surgeon. I'm in the middle of the procedure right now. We've opened him up, and I have to tell you, we're actually kind of shocked/stunned by what we're seeing here. We had no idea that the infection was this bad. And I'm like, what's going on? And they said, well, we did an ultrasound and we saw this really small area of active, like, fluid infection. And so we thought we were going to come open him up and deal with like a freaking quarter size area of I think they call it, what do they call it? Debridement, cleaning up, extraction of infection and infected tissue, and remove the device. But he's like, once we got, now that I'm in here and I have him opened up and I'm looking, the infection is so much worse than any of us anticipated. He's like, it is, I don't know how he was even walking. I don't know how he was conscious. I don't know how he was even functional. They said that his pain should have been at least a 10 out of 10, and that he should not have been able to walk. He should have been in and out of consciousness at best. And it was strange because, like, he was talking, he was walking, and all that, everything that he was not presenting, is basically the best way I can put it. He was not presenting like a patient, they would expect a patient to present themselves with an infection as severe as what had happened. A biofilm had formed over the device, and Sundown's infection was a huge area, and the infection was actually creeping up the leads to his spinal cord. If they had waited longer, if he hadn't gone when he did, he could have gotten infection in his spinal cord, which we would be having a very different, sad, difficult conversation now. Also, potentially, he's lucky it didn't go septic, because the cultures, they were taking cultures. Later, we'll find out it came back a very rare strain of Staph aureus with MRSA indications, which can turn into sepsis. So, yeah, I mean, they said that they couldn't believe that it was so bad, and that he was handling, like he was presenting kind of like it was no big deal. I'm walking in, I'm driving over here, I'm walking in, pain level, 3 out of 10 maybe, type of thing. And they were like, he should have been on his butt, like he should have been on the floor passed out with an infection this bad. So the 1 to 1.5 hour surgery ended up taking about 3 hours. And yeah, the skin on his back, they were gonna stitch it like normal, but because the condition of that skin and the infection and all that stuff and where it was located, they ended up having to staple his back shut. And so now this all started at the beginning of February, and we knew that for the first couple weeks there was going to be restricted movement and, all that stuff. And us as a family, as his daughter and I who live with him, we're going to have to help out. We're going to have to take over the farm chores and any housework stuff that he usually does, like the trash and the dishes. He kind of takes care of those things for the most part. And we knew we were going to have to step up and, do the grocery, do the errands by ourselves without his help, bring groceries in the house, things like that, and take care of the property, take care of the animals on the property. And Leah has a 40-hour per week job, so she's kind of half help in that way. The rest fell on me, and we knew that he was, likely going to need help. Anything physical. He couldn't reach, he couldn't bend, he couldn't stretch, he couldn't hold he couldn't pick anything up that was over 5 pounds. So if he wanted to pour tea out of the jug, he couldn't, get his own drink and stuff. He's pretty much unable to do a lot of things. And so he could drive a car. They said he could do that. They cleared him for that, but he couldn't lift anything. He couldn't bend and all that. Couldn't bathe himself, things like that. Couldn't dress himself. He needed help getting dressed, especially at first, until stubborn guy, found ways to be able to dress himself without as much assistance as in the beginning. He's so stubborn. But he needed a lot more help, just in general. And we expected that, and I knew that was coming. So I told you guys, like, hey, things are going to be kind of sporadic for the first couple weeks, of February, because of the surgery and us having to go through about 5 weeks of taking over all of his responsibilities, including our own plus his, for the whole property and his life and our lives together, you know what I mean, and help nursing him back to health, etc. But what I didn't expect is that, this emergency surgery and another 5 weeks of that. So and I guess I really didn't anticipate there was a lot of trips back and forth to St. Louis because he wasn't feeling good and it wasn't healing right, and the infection. And there was a lot of trips to the local emergency rooms and urgent cares that took days, hours and days out of our, daily lives and stuff. Basically, what I'm trying to say is we have been living in chaos for a month and a half now, and it's still got, 6 weeks, 5 weeks, something like that left now. So anyway, yeah, sorry about the pausing, but I still do have times that I get called away for certain things to help out. So in any event, we have been living in chaos. I barely have had time to diamond paint at all, let alone film and edit a video for you guys, and I'm so sorry. I'm sorry, but not. I mean, I feel bad. I'm sorry. I have, I have to, when you start a channel, you have to realize that, things are going to come up, expenses, life events, illnesses and stuff, and try to prepare ahead for the potential as best you can. But, apparently I did a really crap job and had nothing pre-prepared for you guys. I've been diamond painting, sneaking in. If you could see my timer logs, y'all, you would see that it's like I get 17 minutes here, 6 minutes there, 39 minutes there, before I'm called away to do something, or to take care of something or whatnot. I haven't been able to, this is probably the longest the last day or two has been better, but in this past month and a half, this is probably the longest I've gotten to sit and diamond paint any one thing for, any length of time. So this amount of time or more. So I'm sorry. And that is where I've been. That is where these posts that you see are coming from, and what's kind of in a nutshell been going on. There's been some more in-depth stuff, scary stuff. I mean, we as a family needed to take a little bit of time to, after this most recent emergency surgery, to process the fact that we could have lost Sundown. Very easily, this could have been, the infection was a life-threatening infection, especially when you add a device to the mix, and the fact that it was jacked into his spinal cord, and how bad it was that nobody knew. The emergency room here missed it. The 3 other urgent care visits missed it. The surgeons at Barnes initially missed it. How bad it was. They caught that there was an infection in there, hence the surgery, but they didn't realize, they missed how bad it was until they got in there and saw it with their own eyes. And they did say, and we are so mad, they did say that part of, I think what happened was, and not, like I said, I'm not a doctor, but here's my impression from all the information provided, is that the infection started sometime after his post-op appointment on the 18th of February. On the 18th of February, he was fine, except he had an allergic reaction to the surgical glue that they put over his stitches. They removed it at that time, and we had kept it covered, clean, dry, and bandaged, right? As per instructions. But sometime after that, taking that glue off, whether it was as a response to the allergic reaction or at the time, somewhere along the way, bacteria somehow got in there. But between the 18th and when he went to the emergency room by ambulance on the 20th, an infection developed in his body that was not really visible from the outside, not detectable from the outside. It was on his device and around his device and inside. And the emergency room dismissed it as a severe MS attack, when what it really was the beginning of a major life-threatening infection in his surgery area internally. And I can say this with some degree of confidence because when the surgeon went in for the emergency surgery and discovered that the infection was is so much worse than they thought, because they did an ultrasound and they saw like a quarter size little pocket of infection. Thought no big deal, we can take care of that while we're in here. That was like, sorry guys, we're going to get gross, but that was like liquid infection. Fresh, newly developed liquid form. The whole rest of that, like from his side to his spine, that whole big, chunk of area that had, become infected and stuff and was packed in there, was, in my theory, reason why ultrasound didn't catch it. It wasn't liquid. It was solid. The surgeon told me that he could tell from the appearance and consistency of the infection and the severity of it in his body when he opened him up. He could tell that some of it had been in there for weeks. And what happened weeks prior to this? He was in the emergency room with a fever of over 103. He had fever and chills. He was struggling to remain conscious. He was nauseous. He was getting kind of delirious. And he went to the hospital and they dismissed it as an MS attack, when what it probably was the beginning of this infection, as indicated by the condition of the interior of his body and surgery area on emergency surgery. He went for help 4 times, and they missed it all 4 times until this surgery. Are you kidding me? And that's why I say we could have lost him. We could have lost him. And I think we all are still processing that. And, but yeah, we had to take some time, not only to physically take care of him after the first surgery, and now after the emergency surgery, and all the hospital and emergency room and urgent care visits in between, and all the trips back and forth to St. Louis for checkups and stuff, but also now mentally, emotionally dealing with the fact that he tried to get help multiple times, and they all just brushed it off, blew it off, missed it, and it could have cost him his life. And he was that close to catastrophe. And that's something really hard to process. It takes a little time. So we've been taking some time to help him recover physically and mentally, but also ourselves. We've had extra responsibilities, both physically and mentally, and extra processing of this whole situation. So in a way, I'm sorry there hasn't been the regular content, because it is my responsibility to contingency plan, because life happens. I should have had some backup videos that I could have thrown your way, but even if I had, I don't think I would have had a month and a half's worth. You know what I'm saying? Like who had, I barely have, I do not have the time to pre-film a month and a half worth of videos just in case of an emergency that's prolonged, but I am sorry for lack of content in a way, but in that way, but I'm also not sorry that I've been taking time for myself and my family, and for Sundown that's what's most important. Family. It's more important than diamond painting. It's more important than YouTube. Family, health, life, and taking care of loved ones. And it really kind of really gave us a perspective slap, if you will. Just slapped us in the face with, hey, you've been getting lazy, kind of taking people and things and situations for granted. Wake up, readjust your alignment here before you get back on course, because it's just like when you come that close to potentially losing someone, and there's when you hear doctors talking about emergency surgeries and stuff like that, you get shell shocked with fear and panic. And I know we certainly were. He handled it like a champ. Leah and I were just like chickens with our heads cut off, just freaking out. When he wasn't looking. When he was looking, we were like we were trying to be as much of a rock as possible. But when he wasn't looking, we were freaking out. So yeah, a lot's been going on that front, and it's still going on. He's 6 days out now, I believe. I think I need more putty. He's 6 days out from his surgery. Yesterday he got the all clear to shower. Yay! Yeah, there it is. You can hear him from the other room. He just said, yay. No more sponge baths. Boo. No more fun for anyone. But no, he finally gets to actually shower fully, shower. You don't know how much you love, miss, and appreciate. You take showers for granted until they're taken away from you for a prolonged period of time. Sponge baths, they're great and fun for a while, but then they become like, please just let me have a shower, right? I tried to make it as fun as possible, but that only works for a while until we get bored with that, and then he started really missing the showers. So he just got cleared yesterday to take showers. He can now lift things up to 20 pounds if necessary, but he still can't bend. He still can't twist. He's a little bit more mobile and functional, which is good. He was in the emergency room just the other day, not yesterday, but the day before, I think it was. He had an allergic reaction to we don't know what, so he got pumped up with some Prevacid and Benadryl, and he got himself a little cocktail. We were nervous. We were afraid it was, infection presenting itself again, but they're pretty confident it was just some kind of allergic reaction to, we don't know, like I said, we don't know what, but Benadryl and Prevacid seem to be taking care of the itch and the rash skin and stuff like that. And hopefully now we're done with the dramatics and we're on the road to recovery. And as for what is he gonna do now, he says he doesn't want to try again. They said that once he healed up, they could discuss trying another, trying to do a stimulator again. And he said, no, thank you. I don't want it. He can't do the shots anymore, and there's no more surgeries to do. So really, unless they come up with something else, sometime, it's pain. He's just going to have to live with the pain. This was the last shot for him. He may change his mind. I don't know, but I doubt it. The 2 times he had a stimulator put in, it ended in severe life-threatening infection. And he just doesn't want to try it again. I mean, how many times what's the definition of insanity? What is it? Attempting the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Well, he's nipping that in the bud. He's like, the same thing has happened both times. Now I'm not willing to keep trying. I know I can't be constantly having surgeries and emergency surgeries and infections and risking my life to reduce this pain. I choose to live with it, to live with the pain. And that's his body, his choice. I will support him, and we'll get through it together as a family. So that's kind of where we're at now. That's what's been going on. The major thing that's been going on that's been taking me away from content, diamond painting, the channel, etc. I love you all. I love this channel. I love diamond painting. but I love him more. I love our family more, as it should be. And they come first. He comes first, my daughter and our kids, all of our kids, but she's the one that's living here and stuff, that's why I say my daughter, but all the kids were affected by this. But I love, my family more. I love him more, and I love our life more. And it made me realize that I get obsessive about things. I get, it's part of the OCD. Like, I get started on something and I can't stop until I've finished. It bugs me. And I'm a bit of a perfectionist. So, like, I harp on things too long and want things to be too perfect sometimes. And that takes time, and it takes time away from my loved ones. And I realized, I take it for granted that every day we're going to wake up and he's going to be there and we're going to do things tomorrow. I just take tomorrow for granted. I have been taking him for granted a little bit. We all do it. You get comfortable in life and whatever, and in a pattern and a rhythm, and you just slowly start to like morph into the taking for granted. It's not on purpose. It's not malicious. It's not mean. It's just kind of how we as humans are. And you get comfortable, and then something like this happens and you realize that you've fallen into a place where you take for granted that you have tomorrow. You take for granted that you have this person. You take for granted that they'll be there and that they'll be okay, and that you'll be there and you'll be okay. And, this is one of those life moments where it snapped me back. Okay, you need to reset your for granted meter, your for granted bucket. You need to empty that and readjust your perspective and realize that life is fragile. You seem to have forgotten, Mushy. Time to remember. So, that's what's been going on. When you see posts about emergencies and I'm out of office, etc., that's what's been going on. There have been instances, more than a handful, this past month or so, where I've had to literally drop everything and go and deal with a crisis, a medical emergency crisis. So thank you to those who have been so loving and supportive and understanding. You've been amazing, and it's been, let me tell you, there were times I was sitting in the hospital, waiting while he was in surgery, or waiting to hear news, etc., waiting for him to wake up. And all this stuff, waiting in the emergency room, and a message will come through either on Facebook or in the comments from you guys that just give me that little boost of, I can do this. I'm not alone. And it's just, I don't want to get too emotional, so we'll leave it at that. But I just want to say thank you for those of you who have been supporting us through this. And by support, I mean emotional support. It's been more valuable than you can know to both of us, to all of us, to all of us, really. And I thank you. I thank you for all of it, for your grace, for your understanding, and for your support. Okay. Let's get out of the emotion station and move on. Some other things that have been going on during all of this. Anybody want a mom down update? Got a mom down update. I don't think I've updated, and maybe I mentioned it in passing, but a lot's been going on with mom down. Last, I think I shared with you guys, she was in the hospital for MRSA pneumonia a while back. She was released home, which considering Sundown got a staff with indications of MRSA strain in it, Makes you wonder. But, yeah, Mom Down is home. She has once a week, we have arranged, we have finally gotten some help. We've finally gotten some help with her and have arranged for her to have once a week a home visit nurse come out and take her vitals and check in with her. They can see when she has appointments scheduled. They can see when she's missed them and why. So they can kind of keep an eye. Are you going to your appointments? Have you followed up with this? Are you taking this new medicine? Let's see. And all that stuff. They take her vitals to make sure that in the moment that they're there, she's stable and whatnot. So that's been helpful. But also, we have arranged for, and they have finally started, I think this is about third week, maybe, second, third week, a home health care aid situation person come out, where somebody comes out Monday through Friday for about 4 hours a day. I think it is something like that. Every day of the week, not weekends. Somebody comes to the house for half a day, couple hours, whatever, and helps her get herself ready, helps her do laundry and other little housework, cleaning, organizing, meal prep, things like that, move around. They can take her to stores or appointments and etc. So do little stuff around the house that she needs done that she normally would call and ask us to do. They got that started just in time for Sundown's. So I guess it's been about a month, because they got that started just in time for Sundown's first back surgery. You know what I mean? The first one recently. Because we were like, you guys, like, we've been waiting for somebody to come out here. You said you were going to send people. Nobody's coming, and back surgery is like next week. Come on now. So they did. They got somebody out there. So she has somebody that's out there daily to kind of help her and keep an eye on her. And they have someone more, a mandated state reporting nurse that comes out and checks her medically, vitals and etc., her state of mind, the status of her dementia situation. And now, at her last doctor's appointment last week, she has been ordered, the doctor tried to push for in-facility physical therapy, where she would go and kind of move into like a kind of essentially kind of a nursing home facility on a temporary basis, and work on getting her strength and mobility built up to where they could feel more safe and confident in her ability to live in her home. But even though that's what the doctor prescribed and requested, insurance, that nasty insurance, they would not approve the in-facility, but they did approve in-home physical therapy. So 8 hours a day, 4 days a week, she is going to have another state mandate reporting medical professional will be in her home doing some physical therapy, some occupational therapy, and supervision of her for the foreseeable future. So now she will have 3 people. And you guys, I'm just sitting here and grateful that she's going to be getting the help, all the help that she can possibly need to stay living independently. And I use independently loosely because I mean, at what point does it become not independent? When you have to have 3 different services come in and kind of help you live your daily life, I feel like that sort of is really, really digging into that not so independent. To me, independent is once in a blue moon, I might call you to hang a picture. I might call you to fix something that's like going wrong with my house. I might ask you once in a while when I'm not feeling good to take me to the doctor. I don't feel like 3 independent services coming into the house on a daily basis to help you live your daily life as independent living anymore. But maybe I'm just a judgmental meanie weenie. I don't know. So, but yeah, we finally have some help out here. She has other people that can do the things that we physically just cannot do as often as she needs things done for her. You know what I'm saying? And these are professionals that are better equipped to handle her medical and physical issues. So, we have help, which is nice, but like I said, at the end of the day, I'm sitting here wondering where is the line? Who determines where the line is? Because if it were me, I would have probably, this is about where I would start really drawing it. I'd really start drawing that line if you need 3 separate services to come into your house on a daily basis to help you be independently living in your home. That's not independence. That is not. If you're having people help you dress and help you take your meds and move around and make your meals and all that kind of stuff, that's not independent living. And so I'm just like, why are we not now really why are we do we not have a foot in the door of a nursing home at this point? Because everything that all these services that are coming out and doing things for her are essentially what could be done if she was in a nursing home, all one service, all under one roof. I do not know. I do not know. All we're doing is putting, and where I say but we're not doing this. It's insurance and doctors and things like that. But all that's happening at this point, in my personal opinion, there is some level of safety during business hours, but in the evenings and on the weekends, there is none. And I just feel like at this point we've lost independence here in this situation, and I just don't understand why there is not already at least 1 or 1.5 feet in the nursing home door at this point. I'm not sure who thinks that it is a good idea, if she needs this much help on a daily basis, who thinks it's a good idea that she still live out in the country in the middle of nowhere, 15 to 20 minutes from the nearest ambulance. It just seems like that's not the safest potential situation here. I don't. But that, again, it might just be me being a meanie weenie. I don't, a judgmental, overreactive meanie weenie. I don't know. But she is getting help, and we are getting help with, for her and with her, and there's that. So that's been a huge relief, especially with everything going on with Sundown. We don't also have to worry about 24/7 on call for Mom Down as well, per se. Our I guess our unique family relation services are needed occasionally from time to time still, but it's a lot less obligation than it was. I don't know how we would have handled all this without her having those services and Sundown going through everything he went through and us going through everything with him and support. I don't know what that would have been, a whole other nightmare, and not good for anyone. So super grateful and thankful that she has the services she has. It's just that I don't understand, if it's so bad that she has to have this much help in her own home, why we're there's a fight so hard to maintain that when things would be much easier and safer and healthier for her if she was in a facility that had 24/7 care. But yeah, there's that. As far as the farm goes, if anybody wants an update on what's going on with the farm, unfortunately, 2 roosters did not see eye to eye. They did not get along. I don't know if it was a fight over a girl or what, but there was 2 roosters didn't get along and beat up one of the roosters to the point where I think how many toes did Lieutenant Dan lose? On one foot? On both feet? Yeah. Oh, I didn't know that. So one of the roosters beat up another rooster so badly that he lost all his toes on both feet. We then named him Lieutenant Dan. I'm sorry if that's... It is what it is. Lieutenant Dan was depressed and stuff. We did everything we could to help him out. And even the hens were stepping in to help him out. They gave him a job sitting on the eggs, being an egg broody sitter person. And that seemed to give him a little happiness and purpose. We're not sure if it was just from injuries or if Big Bad Rooster came a knocking again or what. We don't think so, because it was like that. How long was Lieutenant Dan like that? How long did he survive after the rooster fight? A couple months. Yeah, he'd been like this for a couple months. He had learned to walk with no toes and stuff, and you know, whatnot. And it had been a couple months, and there was no other issues, so we thought they had settled it. And you know, the hens were mothering him a little bit and taking care of him, giving him a purpose, and he survived like the storms and, you know, all the things. And so we thought, okay, well, everything's kind of back to normal as it should be in the coops, and he's thriving and surviving and everything's fine. But then Leah went out the other day and to do the morning feed and water, and found Lieutenant Dan had passed away while doing his duty, which was sitting on the eggs that they were, what is that called when they sit on the eggs? Brooding. Yes. He passed away protecting the baby eggs, brooding, and didn't make it. So it's unfortunate. We've had, you know, that we had a loss, but it is also nature. So when it happens, not every animal gets along, you know, and nature does its thing. So, but he passed away happy, doing what he seemed to love. He seemed to really like sitting on those eggs. So that's what he did. And that's, you know, he died happy in that regard, you know, where he's taking care of those potential baby eggs. You know what I'm saying? Otherwise, everyone has been doing well. We got the whole crew through all those storms, the ice and the snow and all that stuff, and then the following tornadoes. What is going on with Mother Nature? Everyone has survived that and thriving, doing well. Everything is good. Yeah, I guess that's really all that's been kind of going on around here in a nutshell. I mean, of course, there's always much more in more detail, but you know, we don't got all that kind of time now, right? But yeah, that's what's been going on. I do hope to get back to regularly. I'm slowly trying to get back to some sort of semblance of normalcy. I might have already done irreparable damage to my channel in terms of exposure, in terms of algorithm, etc. I broke the regularly releasing content schedule situation, and I have heard that it is incredibly difficult, if not impossible, to bounce back once you start getting, you fall off the schedule wagon, the predictable content wagon. Even if you resume, I've heard that it's pretty much a lost cause to try to bounce back from that. So guys, we might be at the pinnacle of what this channel is and was and could be in terms of our exposure. We might not be getting shared around to the masses at all, or very as much as we were. That it might have put me in the permanent let's forget about this channel pile, filing cabinet, whatever. I'll do what I can. I love always to have new friends and meet new people and welcome new people into the WIP crew who enjoy the darker, creepier stuff like we do, or just the company and whatever. We have a great group of people here, but I can't, there's nothing I can do if the powers that be have decided that I am a bad little robot and have violated the rules of consistency and frequency and schedule so long that I'm not worth supporting anymore. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's fine. It is what it is. Like I said, no regrets. My family comes first. That it is what it is, and you can't. Diamond painting is not like a lot of other kind of content-y channels. I can't just. Oh, sorry, I misplaced a drill. Didn't I? No, I did not. Put it back. Bad mushy. But it's not. I could film 15 videos of me whipping and chatting this one canvas and store them behind for a rainy day or another emergency, and then a year and a half from now be like, oh my gosh, there's this huge emergency, I need a video content. Oh, I've got some stored up, I got some banked, let me just toss out this one from a year and a half ago. It's not relevant, and I can only diamond paint so fast. You know what I'm saying? So it's really hard to kind of bank content in this genre, in my opinion. But maybe there's something I'm missing. I could probably bank some Tales from the Crypts, because does anybody really care what's in the background of those? You know what I'm saying? You kind of, for those, you're here for the story, but they're not very popular. They're that, and any of my series really don't get much attention. They're not very popular, so I don't know that would be very beneficial. But Tales from the Crypt and the Fact or Fiction, the Confessions of a Diamond Painter, I could probably bank some of those, and I guess it wouldn't hurt to have something to throw up in an emergency. It's not like they perform well anyway, so I don't get that either. You'd think that maybe it might be. My thoughts were, because I think this personally, it would be really refreshing to see some unique diamond painting content. I would love to see some diamond painting content that isn't cookie cutter, that isn't what same video, different voice type of content. Let me see something entirely unique and different, fresh. But apparently that's just me. Because whenever I do come up with and put out the videos, like I said, the Tales from the Crypt, and Figure It Out Friday and stuff like that, that's different than what everyone else is doing format wise, boy, it just tanks. Just nope. It's very, very clear, very loud and clear signal that, yeah, We don't like new and different, and we want same old stuff. So, you know, but those are the quickest and easiest to film, really. So I might, for future, try to bank some of that. Maybe I'm gonna wait and see how bad this this kick to the groin my channel's receiving from the powers that be. I'm gonna see how bad it is, and if it's even worth banking videos, or if it's gonna be a lost cause. We'll see. But yeah, I think that kind of covers the gambit. We've had a rough month or so, guys, and hopefully this is the beginning of me coming back from that. It's going to be unpredictable still. It's going to be when I can, what I can, when I can. I can't make promises. Like I said, family first, health first. And this was a doozy, you guys. This was a doozy. But I'm not gone. I'm not going away. I'm not going anywhere. If I were to do that, there would be signs. You would get one heck of a video. When my time on YouTube is done, when I decide that I need to be done with YouTube, I will go out with a bang and a swan song, and it will be very clear. You won't miss it. It'll be loud and obnoxious, and so yeah, I'm not going anywhere, and nothing like that. I'm on the struggle bus, balancing life and diamond painting, and if you have to make me choose between the two, it's going to be life and family and health. So that's just the way it is. As much as I love the channel and I love you guys, you know, it is what it is. So yeah. And on that note, it's about time for me to go make dinner for the people in my house that eat the things. So I'm gonna go ahead and take care of that. But here's what we did while we were whipping and chatting for quite some time. I'm sorry. I wanted to just give a full update for those who weren't following along on Facebook or on the community tab posts and like, what the heck, this channel just all of a sudden just stopped making videos. Where'd she go? There you are. There's where I went. And I didn't really go away. I just was, had to turn the closed sign around for a bit and take care of life. But we're trying to get back on track with everything. So yeah, I hope to be able to spend more time with you soon. Like I said, I do have the post review of the Mystical Dream Diamonds Gus Fink canvas that I did. I Will Always Fight For You. That is coming up. I have thoughts on that. And I will be post reviewing Diamond Design Company Spooky Lips set that I did quite a while back, but I want to share that shop with you guys and give you my thoughts on that. And then some Forever Young minis that, unfortunately, spoiler, I'll give you a little spoiler on that too. I'm a huge fan of Forever Young mini canvases. I've had nothing but really great experiences with them, including those cards, but also like the other. I've been getting the ones from the Gothic. They don't have it in a set. They don't have like a Gothic set in a box where all of them are Gothic. You kind of got to buy them one, each individually. And I kind of lump the angels in with that too, by the way. But I got some more of the individual Gothic themed minis, and I actually got 3 of them, and they were not, to me, the same quality as the ones that I have previously gotten over the last 6 months or so. So I'll tell you all about that in the post review as well. Just know that I was like, what happened here? So that's your hint for how that's gonna go. But that'll be all in one video coming out very soon. And until then, see you next time and stay naughty. Oh, hey, I was too close. Hey, stay naughty. How about this? Stay naughty.